Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Healing Between the Lines. I am your host, Shakara van Staden, and this is my podcast. For the longest time, I have wanted to start a podcast, but I've always been too scared to do it by myself. And thank goodness to a really good group of friends and a great community that I'm in, all the lovely ladies in there. I have now decided to officially launch Healing Between the Lines. Now, let me give you a brief explanation of what Healing Between the Lines is. This is a podcast that I've started as a mental health, trauma, and infertility awareness Q&A and everything above. So, in regards to why I started this was a dream of mine for so long. I've always wanted to have a podcast. I've always wanted to bring awareness to things that people are not usually aware to or aware of. And I've always been listening to that voice inside my head of, don't do it, you're going to embarrass yourself, just don't do it. And I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it. The podcast of Healing Between the Lines is a very vulnerable place where people can feel comfortable and discuss things with me. Obviously, I've got an email address which I'll put down over here where I can tell their stories and where I can tell my stories and where I can invite people to come and tell their own stories. And that has always been the biggest dream of mine, is to bring awareness to things that people think they are aware of, but they're not. So, with that being said, I host Healing Between the Lines. Now, let me just tell you a bit about myself. I am 23 years old and happily married, but that was definitely not always the case. You will get to know me a bit better and the vulnerable state of things that are not pretty in this world throughout this entire journey, which we will call mental health journey. Now, this journey is all about what I went through to get to the place where I am today. Now, this podcast is not always going to be about sadness and problems. There's going to be uplifting moments. There's going to be moments where I'm going to cry. My guests are going to cry. I'm going to cry because of stories sent to me. And that is the whole point of it. I am based here in South Africa, so I'm a South African, which is not a great place to start, obviously. So, with all that being said, let's get into who is Shakara van Staden and why am I hosting Healing Between the Lines. So, I think it would be very equipped to start with everything we all know of, which is GBV, gender based violence. And this is why everyone's profiles are turning purple. Now, I'm going to tell you my GBV moments in my life. And my mom, which I love dearly, it wasn't my dad, it wasn't my stepdad, it wasn't my stepmom. It was someone I loved dearly and thought I would spend the rest of my life with, which is my ex-fiance. Now, I'm happily married to the love of my life, the best person God could have given me, but that was not always the case. In 20, I think it was 2018, I started dating a guy. Obviously, no name drops here from me. And I really thought he was the be end and end all of my world. I couldn't do anything without him. I couldn't go anywhere without him. I couldn't breathe without him. And while you listen to this episode of me opening up a bit about my GBV experience, you will see red flags which not all people see until they're out of the relationship or until someone actually opens their eyes towards this. And this is also a reason why I started Healing Between the Lines. So in my relationship, we were about 3 months into the relationship and everything was going absolutely amazing. I was so deeply in love. On our 3 month mark, we went to dinner. Now, I was very excited, obviously. I was also the only one earning money between the two of us. And I wanted to take him for an amazing sushi dinner because that was our favorite thing in the world. And the waiter at this dinner actually walked up to me and said to me, "You look stunning." So obviously makeup done, pretty outfit on. I'm going to dinner with the love of my life, obviously. And he obviously saw this waiter speak to me, and he did not like that. And that was the beginning of a 3-year relationship that I was too scared to get out of. So on that night, we ate our sushi. I thought we had an amazing time. We got home to his house, and instead of saying thank you, he immediately turned around and asked me, why am I disrespecting him? And this is where the big problem started. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it because this is still my private life that I'm not willing to share each and every detail. Not yet, at least, not until I become a bit more comfortable with the fact that I am putting my full self and vulnerable self all over the internet. Um, let's just say 3 months is where it started. And love bombing was obviously the first red flag. We were together for a year, and that's when I noticed I need to get out of this. And it was insanely difficult. I think anyone that's been in a GBV relationship or has experienced GBV in their life would tell you that it is such a difficult situation because you keep on convincing yourself it's not that bad. A year into our relationship, on the 14th of February 2020, he asked me to marry him. So it's 2 years into our relationship, excuse me. He asked me to marry him. And obviously, being 19 at the age, I was like, oh, hell no. And I knew my parents wouldn't approve. But in that moment, you're too scared to say no. And he did it in front of a big crowd of people. And I said yes. Obviously, after saying yes, we posted all over social media, and my mom immediately saw it and she knew something wasn't right. We dated for about 7 months after that. And the last time he assaulted me was a week before I broke up with him. And it wasn't it wasn't anything. He slapped me through the face in front of his parents and they just did nothing. And that was really scary. I packed up all my shit, put it in a bag, phoned my mom, went to my auntie's house and stayed there. And I never saw him again. And the point of the story is to let you know that it took me 3 years to get out of a relationship that there were obvious warning signs to.
What's up, people?
This is my pretty husband. Love you.
Love
Okay,
you
go away. So it took me 3 years to get out of there. And I'm going to tell you 5 of the warning signs I missed. The 5 signs that I missed when I was in the relationship because you don't see it was the following. One was love bombing. I loved that he bought me gifts every week. I mean, this man said, I love you within the first 24 hours of us being together. We weren't even officially in a relationship yet. And his first words to me was, I love you. And obviously, now being 23 and not 17, I can see how that is a big issue. But when you're in the situation, you don't see it. Number 2 was the aggression he showed me when I was talking to other people, not even just males, females as well. Since I'm part of the LGBTQ community, it was a big no-no for him. So I was like, okay. So I remember this one specific story of his female co-worker walking up to me and we were just chatting. It was the first time in a long time I connected with someone that is such an amazing person. And we got home that night, and I remember him saying to me, if I would rather sleep with a woman, I must just go and come back home that he can teach me a lesson. And obviously, in that moment, you're like, no, 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 this will never happen. So that was number 2. Number 3 was whenever we were apart, we would always fight. He would always accuse me of cheating. He would always accuse me of putting off my location because I didn't want him to see where I was, basically. Number four, the most obvious one, obviously, is the smacking around, which only started much later in our relationship. Like I said, about 3-4 months in, it started. And then the fifth one, the cheating. So I didn't know he was cheating on me for a solid year out of our 3-year relationship. I didn't know that he was cheating on me for a full year of our 3-year relationship. And like common signs of cheating, which I feel like all of us miss, is like the password being changed weekly, the not allowing access to his location, but he obviously wanted mine 90% of the time. And when I found out about, let's say, 3 weeks before my final straw of the relationship, his words to me was, "You're not giving it to me, so I need to get it somewhere else." And that is not okay, no matter who you are, what situation you are in. No man or woman should ever speak to another human being like that. And this is why I felt the need to start this podcast after the healing process. I wouldn't have been any help if I started this podcast in the midst of GBV, in the midst of trauma, in the midst of mental health issues. The reason I started healing between the lines after the healing I have done. Now, a lot of the topics that we're going to reach on between the next few episodes is infertility, GBV, because it is the GBV March on the 21st of November, which I am 100% participating in. The GBV, infertility, mental health, trauma, and I wanted this to be a safe space for everyone. I wanted to be able that people could send me emails and direct messages and all of that anonymously, and if they wanted to share their story, we could share their story so that you guys know that I'm watching. You guys are not alone within this process. I, for example, in regards to the infertility, I am on this amazing group of women called Prayers and Promises, of people that have been struggling for so long to get pregnant and get that little being that they've been wanting for so long. And this is definitely a topic we're going to reach on, because this is a topic I don't feel a lot of people are aware of. We are aware of the things that we see on TikTok. We are aware of the 5-minute videos that people post, but we're not aware of the behind the scenes. And that's why I created Healing Between the Lines, because it's not just about mental health. It is healing through trauma, healing through you feeling your body is failing you. And this is a place where I wanted to be safe for all colors, all nationalities, all different sexual orientations, all different types of people to feel comfortable to share their stories. So, this concludes episode 1 of Healing Between the Lines, and just a little explanation of what this is. I really hope to see you again, and I hope that you all will support me in supporting you. Thank you.